Ik eich sa tíniil de cadúhan just lénach dachnach nascinach dagúníach a ó hája yagi. Seach sanní cí có an tleiliad thuya yagi has ús kannach hast du out adi. A có a chat ya de chat. Good to see you guys. It looks like just four of us today. One, two, four. And Shakhsaniki can't make it today. She has a meeting, another meeting that conflicts with today, but I'm here with you and we have an exciting day planned. So let's hop into it. Deich yagi, ya yagi. Tlallchosaku ya dis sai ko a Cajun yawahi ya dis. It's the second day of the week, and I don't know the name of this month, but 5 days have passed. So while I have you here, I'm going to show you how I look up the days of the month. Every time it's a new month, I recommend going to clinkitlanguage.com under the resources tab and beginning materials. And if you scroll down to it's a phrase book by the Dowenhowers, published by Sealaska Heritage Institute. And under the bookmarks, chapter 4 is months, seasons, days, and time. And we started talking about this a few classes ago with Shakhsani Keek. We talked about the names of the month and whether or not there's a beginning of the year. I've seen different resources that talk about the beginning of the year. If there is one, it seems to depend on where you're at and how you view your seasons. But for March, okay, I'm gonna zoom in so you can see the month names. But March is Hin Tanach Kayani Disi, month of underwater plant budding. So all the aquaculture plants are starting to bloom or bud, and that's what's happening right now. So let's practice this month name, and you can unmute your mics. And the first word we'll practice is for month or moon, and it has this and it sounds, when it's connected to its name, it sounds like this. Repeat after me. Disi.
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 Yeah. And then this word is plants. And so repeat this one after me. Kayani.
Kayani.
Ayani.
So if it was just plant month, it would be these two words together. Repeat these after me. Kayani Disi.
Ayani. Disi.
Disi.
And then we're specifying what kind of plants here. This is water immersed in it, inside the water plants. So let's do the first two words. It means underwater. Hin tanach.
Hin Tana.
And then repeat after me. Hin tanach kayani disi.
Hin Tana.
Kayani. Disi.
Good. Let's do it two more times for repetition. Hin tanach kayani disi.
Hin Tana. Ayani.
Kayani. Disi.
Good. And one more time. Hin tanach kayani disi.
Hin Tana. Kayani. Disi.
Good. Nice. I'm glad I didn't know which month it was because we got to explore together. So, hin tanach kayani disiya Cajun yawachiya dis. So it's the month of underwater plant budding, and 5 days have passed this month. Shaksani Keek and I met yesterday to talk about our what would be best for our class. And before we get started, are there any questions or comments so far from last class or anything on your mind?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
When you're introducing yourself
Uh-huh.
and you're saying, I live in the current place that I live in, is it possible to say something like, I am from, or I was born in and I live in?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's two
Yeah,
parts.
they're different things, right? There's Kwan, which is your ancestral homeland. There's Yeti, which means I live in. There's Kuchtiti, and I'll write these down for you. There's Kuchtiti, I was born at, and then there's Kechet Uawat, which is I was raised in. And so all, where you come from or how you identify can be different meanings. Those are different ways of saying all of those in Lingit. So let's do a table and I'll write them out for you.
Thank you. Gunal Chief.
Ah, let's do table. Okay, so first one, uh, there's place name. And this is your ancestral homeland. Ancestral homeland. And this is Kwan. Oops, someone came in the waiting room and it messed up my typing. Kwan, oh what Wuhan. This is part of the introduction we taught. And that would be, we are the people of ancestral homeland. And these are listed in the beginning Tlingit workbook, the place names. And they've exist for a long time, and so we don't make new names for ancestral homelands, and they have specific clan relationships. So there's a list of these that we can refer to if anybody wants to. I can take you there. But if you're just saying where you live, this is another part of our self-introduction. Place name. And you would add this pinch X sound and just say you reside there. You live there. Ye Khatyati. I live in place name. Other ones you mentioned where I was born at. So this one would be place name. Kuchtati. I was born at place name. And then there's I was raised in. I was raised in place name. And so let me make sure my spelling's right. So let's practice these. The top two are in the self-introduction that Shaksani Keek and I want everybody to practice for the sake of familiarity and for your learning pronunciation of Lingit sounds. And the first one, let's practice. If you are not sure what ancestral homeland you're from on your mother's side, we can practice using Shirley's, which is Kagwan, or not Kagwantan. Hunashu. Let's pretend we're Angun Kwan just for pronunciation practice. So go ahead and repeat after me. Angun Kwan Owa Uhan.
Angun Kwan Awa Uhan.
Good. In my family, on my mother's side, we're European immigrant, and so we can practice mine too. We would be what you call Guske Kwan, which is people from the base of the clouds, and that's to describe when you see sail ships coming across the ocean onto Lingit lands, that would be the description. It would be Guske Kwan. So you can practice if repeat after me. Gutske Kwan Owa Uhan.
Guske Kwan Awa Uhan.
Yeah. At one point, I used to say my mother's heritage, which was German. I would say German Kwan, but I was corrected. We don't make new Kwan names because these have relationships to clans. So that would be the one that you use for if you identify as being European immigrant on your mother's side. Again, it's your self-introduction.
So the late Kwan, is that okay for English?
I would do well. There's actually Ingen and Kwan, and I've heard Zeus say that before, and yeah, that one is it's a Tlingit pronunciation of England. That would be uh Hingen and Kwan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sheesh.
Ah. Uh, and the next one is where I live. So if you live in Juneau, in southern Juneau, you would say Dentikihini, and then you add the pinched X at the end, which just make the sound after me. Yeah. Now say it at the end of Dentikihini. So repeat after me. Dentikihini.
Sante Kahini.
Yeah. And then repeat the second part after me. Ye Khatyati.
Ye Hatyati.
Good. So let's do the whole thing. Zantikihini ye Khatyati.
Sante Hihini. Ye
King
Hatyati.
Yati.
Yeah. Who else has a place name they want to practice or know? And then next one is I was born at where was I born? I was born in Valdez. If you were born in Juneau, it would again be Zantikihini. So practice this with me. Zantikihini.
Tentakahini.
Unique.
And then I was born as repeat after me. Kuchzeti.
Kohudziti.
Ye.
There's that Z again.
Yeah. Yeah, having a Z. Shakhsaniki could probably write it with an S, and that is totally fine. One time Jeff Lear Weha mentioned to me that he was like, yeah, don't get too caught up on the way things are written because like when you say little in English, it's written TTLE, but we pronounce it like a D, little. And it's like really hard to tell the difference anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So if you wrote it with an S, I think it would, and you read it, I think it would come out sounding pretty similar to kuch, ziti, kuch.
Gunashtish.
Okay. And then the last one you mentioned was I was raised in, and so I was raised in Seward, whose native name is Katathlik. That's its Alutiiq name, a Sugpiaq name. But if you were born in, or if you were raised in Haynes, Haynes's native name is, repeat after me, Deshu.
Deshu.
Yeah. and then add a pinched X at the end. Repeat after me. Deshuch.
Deshu.
Yeah, and then say this. Kechat ua what?
Hey, cut ua at
What?
ua
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
And what
Maybe.
about if where you're from isn't a native place? How do you just say the name of where it is and add that pinched X to it?
I would, and also depending on your audience too, and the purpose. So, do you want to share the place name that you're thinking of?
Well, I am currently living in Sherwood Park, and I was born and raised in Victoria.
Oh, cool. So if you're thinking of the audience you would be introducing yourself to, would they all know the place as Sherwood Park?
That's a good question. Probably not necessarily, because maybe I'm coming to Tagish to introduce myself to people there, and they would have no idea where Sherwood Park is.
Yeah, okay, so that's a good point. Like if you came to Juneau or something, or a place that was like a totally different area and people aren't familiar, you can refer to the place name that is more general that people will be like, "Oh, well, I've heard of that one."
Okay, so Edmonton is closer. Most people have heard of Edmonton.
Okay.
So you would just use Edmonton and then put the X, pinched X at the end?
Is Edmonton, where is it in the continent?
Alberta.
Oh, so it's in Canada. So like,
Northern Alberta, yeah.
okay, northern Alberta.
Technically central,
Mid,
but it's
mid,
like the northest town.
Oh,
it's
cool.
mid-Alberta.
Okay, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you the map that I meant to go over last time. It's gonna help answer our questions.
Yeah, I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta, and so I actually say Sitsikamkwan. That's the Sitsica First Nation is the largest First Nation here in southern Alberta. So I claim their title or their land's name instead of saying
Even though you're not part of that
like
tribe
it's
or
their
band.
land. Yeah, it's their land and that's where I live.
Okay.
So that's why
Okay.
I say there. But like you can do whatever you want. That's just how I
I
do it.
love that idea. Thank you for sharing that.
Ah,
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, I, I forgot your Tlingit name. Sakun just mentioned that when you're giving native place names, if you're saying you where you live or where you stay, and you're amongst Tlingit people that speak Tlingit, or you want to be using Tlingit, you can use the Tlingit or native place name. And then the other thing I was going to get to is like, if you go to a different region and you want to say, I'm from this area, the coastal Tlingit might be more familiar with Dakka, that you're inland, that you're from inland lands.
is the also Deichlin is like Teslin is called Deichlin in
Yeah,
Tlingit, and it
yeah.
just basically means inland Tlingit.
Daisling is a specific place name, like Daisling Kwan. I'll show you a map. I keep
Oh
like,
goodness, sheesh, I did not know
yeah,
that.
yeah, Daisling Kwan is a specific place name, people of that area. And coastal Tlingit people are familiar with it.
And
So,
what would a coastal Tlingit name be? Could you use
uh,
just for coastal? I'm from the
it,
coast.
oh yeah, so I'm from inland would be Dakka, and then coastal would be let me look before I tell you the wrong thing. Let's find this map. Oh yeah. This is a map that shows families of the, or not families, different ways of speaking the Tlingit language. And then it also shows Kwan territories, so ancestral homelands. So one of them ones we just talked about. Okay, so this is Teslin area, and you if you were living in Teslin, you would say Daislin Yeti. I live at Teslin. If you're ancestrally from this area on your mother's side, then you are Daislin Kwan. Owa Uhan is what you would say. So saying Kwan means the people of that area that are have ancestral ties to that area. But then there's also the name of the place that you can use to just say, I live there, I was raised there, I was born there. And this is Juneau area. So people like the Wushkitan who are ancestrally from this area are Akwan. But when I'm living in Juneau, I would say Aukyechatyeti if I live over here in this part of it. Or sorry, here.
Thanks for
So
saying that. I was wondering about that. Like instead of Santa Kahini, like is there another to say I'm in Juneau and
e
recognize the Ak and the Taku?
yes, exactly. So yeah, Akwan just means the people of Ak, and Ak means little lake, which is that little lake over there. That's anglicized to Ak Lake, but it means little lake. Ak means little lake. And so if you live in that area, that's Ak. That's Ak. And if you live farther south in Juneau by that hill that looks like a flounder, then you're in Zentikahini. And then you can say whose land if you want to do a land acknowledgement. You would say Kwan Anikachawa Uhan. We are on the traditional lands of the Kwan, the people of Little Lake.
Can you put that in the notes?
Can we write that one in the chat? So
Yeah.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna make a new page and do this. So if I want to do a land acknowledgement, I would do, and I'm living, if I'm having a meeting like at UAS campus or something, Kwan Ani Kachawa Ohan. We are on the traditional homelands of the Kwan. And then a literal translation of Kwan is people of the little lake, I guess.
When would you say this?
It's nice to say if you're having a gathering like at UAS, or any kind of meeting and you're opening up. It's a nice thing to acknowledge the lands of the people you're on. And I would probably do it if it was me, I would probably do it. I would probably say, we should ask Shirley this, but I would probably say Ik eich satini stekert Johan ach tu ik ja dacholqini ag kwan ani kachua uhan. And then if there's specific clans that are, yeah, I won't get into that part. And then I would introduce myself next. So I would say, it's good to see you. We're on the lands of the Akwan, and then this is who I am.
Yeah, that's if we really want to beef up our introduction. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, doing a land acknowledgement is nice. Anytime you're addressing a crowd, it's nice to acknowledge the clans that are opposite moiety of you, who you see their faces and you know their clan. Like when we did Canoe Journey, the young woman from Cake who did the Lingit protocol before we went to the beach, acknowledged all the people who were of her father's people and her grandfather's people who were opposite moiety of her, and she knew the clans and she knew their faces and what clan they were from. And that was a nice thing to do before asking for permission to come ashore.
I do have a part of my introduction that is just like an acknowledgement of our clan opposites, not individually, if I
Uh,
don't know who they are. And it's just Cleonadi Ka Gunach Kanai. That's it.
oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's just like, hi, my opposites. If I don't know your clan names, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a really nice thing to do. And people, when they hear you say it, they probably say "konarchish" or "awa" because
Aw.
yeah, they feel acknowledged and respected. Nice. Any more questions?
Yeah, how would you acknowledge your opposites? What would that look like in the introduction?
Yeah, if you did, um, like if you went to Angoon and you're a Raven clan, and you want to acknowledge the Eagles of Angoon when you get there, and they're related to you somehow, you might say something like, um, what's
Mr.
another?
Children?
Yeah, what's another clan name? You could do like clan name. Uh, or you could do the same thing, but Akhlil Kohas. You basically say the kinship term that clan is to you. What did this one do? So, hang on. So yeah, let's practice these. And you'd try to do clans that are, like I said, opposite moiety of your clan. And so, like if you're from a Raven clan, but your father's people are the Tekoidi, and then you go to a place where Tekoidi are from, like Angun or Yakdat, and you go there and you're participating in a potlatch or a kuik or canoe journey or a formal gathering, then this might be a way you would acknowledge your father's people and your opposite. So,
And that's
um,
different from saying like Tekwedi Yadi Ayachat.
that's the same thing, but when you say yadi ayechet, you're talking about you. And if I was looking at a crowd and I see people who are Tekoidi and my dad's Tekoidi, I would be looking at them and specifically saying, "You're my father's people," because I'm talking about them. Like I see you. You guys are my fathers. Does that make sense? Whereas like yadia yachet might be it's the same relationship, but you're focusing on you. Where like if it's a formal self introduction where you're expected to introduce yourself, you would be saying I'm the child of. But saying I don't know, my inclination is to say ach ishas if I see my father's people. But we should keep having this discussion because I can take you guys so far as a guest on Tlingit Land. I'm Koyukon Athabaskan, but being involved in the language as a second language learner, I, pick up some things, but I would rely more heavily on what Shakhsani Kik has to say. So we should bring these questions to her when she comes back. As far as like the cultural nuances. But let's practice them, and then just so you have them in your pocket. So if your father's people are Te Kwedi, repeat this after me. Te Kwedi awa ishas. Yeah. And then for this clan name, my outer shell, let's use the Kagwantan. Repeat after me. Kagwantan akhtakanuku.
Kagwantan Akhtakanuku.
Yeah. And then your grandparents, let's use the Kwashki Kwan and say Kwashki Kwan Akhlil Kohas.
Mashkikwan ak lingwahas.
Yeah, my people, my grandparents. Dakanuku means outer shell, and it's a kinship term that's related to one of your grandparents on one of your parents' side, which we can look up if anybody wants to know. I don't know it offhand. Let's take you there because now I'm curious.
I think it's grandmother's father.
Okay, thank you. Grandmother's
Paternal
father.
or paternal grandmother's father.
On mother's side, yeah.
On your mother's side, okay. What happened to my bookmarks? Let's go to the kinship term. Oh, here, 176. Let's read this since we're talking about it, and this is a good resource. Page 176 in the beginning Tlingit workbook says Tlingit kinship terms are rooted in matrilineal clan law, so it's important to understand the Tlingit way of looking at family, friends, and in-laws. I'm gonna zoom in. Often we see the word friends translated in Tlingit as achun, my clan relatives or my friends. This term would not necessarily include those from the opposite clan, who generally are achkaniyan, my in-laws, and can also have specific relationships which are dictated by clan genealogy. These terms are fluid and are not determined by lineage alone. If two people grow closer to one another through friendship or marriage, they may choose to use a kinship term for one another instead of calling each other by name. A kinship term is a form of greeting and is often used in public and in ceremony to show a closeness to a clan or individual. In Tlingit culture, the clan is the primary form of identity, and an individual should always be conscious of the clans of others, especially clan opposites. When speaking in public at a Tlingit event, the speaker should always address clan opposites and should be careful not to boast about the self or one's own clan. An insult to the opposite clan in public could result in a debt that the clan of the speaker is responsible for paying. And the terms for siblings are not limited to biological siblings as in English, but instead they refer to all members of the same clan who are of the same gender and generation. Because of this, there's no equivalent for English kinship terms such as cousin. In addition, close clan ties can determine the appropriate kinship term regardless of age or biological relationship. The father's clan is shown the most respect and love in public. Paternal refers to Ka'ish Yananach, a person's father's lineage, and maternal is Katla Yananach, a person's mother's lineage. A Tlingit person is the same clan as their mother, and one must always protect the relationships between clans by putting clan law before the individual. Speak carefully and try not to insult a clan by using their adu without permission, including their history, songs, names, and crests. Tlingit kinship terms are listed in the same manner as body parts, with the n dash placeholder, as in tla, a person's mother. This placeholder must be replaced by another pronoun or noun. I'll give you an example of it. Oh, here's an example. For example, ach tla, my mother, tla, your mother, kuch tla, wolf mother, and na tla, clan mother. So when he says the n dash, he's talking about when you look in the dictionary, if you look up the word mother, I'll just show you. It'll have a dash like this in front of tla, telling you that you need to put whose mother there. You don't just say tla on its own because it needs to be connected to whose. So if I open the dictionary and look up mother, or actually I'm gonna look up tla. And oh, there's gonna be like 4,500 tla. Okay, wait. I'm gonna put a dash, and hopefully it'll take me to the entry. Where is it? Yeah, here. If you look up tla, it'll have this dash in front of it, and that just tells you you need to put whose mother in front of it. You wouldn't just say tla on its own. Good questions. Are there any more?
Oh, we didn't quite get to the Dakanoku.
Oh yeah, thank you. So going back to kinship, we'll go 176 is where I'm at it in this for future reference for anybody, but I have all these kinship terms. Klij is parent.
Yeah, I remember kind of looking at this before, and maybe not being able to find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure, if
176.
it's in there.
Yeah. There's good ones in here. Let me find. Dachchen is grandchild. So we talked about Tlij is grandparent, and then so if you're saying my grandparents or my ancestors, or if you're talking about yourself in that relationship, it would be Dachchanaya. I am the grandchild of. There's some phrases in this book that you can use. And I'm going to keep scrolling until I find Dakanuku, which might actually be, it's in the self-introduction template. So I'm going to go there.
Could it be in the dictionary?
Yeah. I'll take you to the self-introduction template first, and then we'll look at it in the dictionary. So, so under this chapter, Wasai Duasak, this is the chapter I go to a lot when teaching the self-introduction because you have Tlingit identity, Tlingit place names, a template to follow for your self-introduction, and Tlingit identity. But I'm gonna go here to introduction template, and here's an example. So these are things you can pull from to acknowledge specific relationships in the crowd. If you see people who are of the Tequedi and your grandmother was Tequedi, you can use these. So you would say Tequedi Dachchen, I'm the grandchild of the Tequedi. Dakanuku. Okay, let's look in the dictionary because I thought it would have. One of these pages has the relationship, but let's look in the dictionary. Dakanuku. Ancestor. Okay, this one says ancestor of person. Term of respect, usually referring to one's mother's father, like y'all said. So my ancestor would be Akhdakanuku. See where else it shows up. Shell around the outside the surface of. I often hear this paraphrased as my outer shell. Opposite. Okay. In Tlingit kinship, this is a clan from the opposite moiety. That is the mother's father's clan. Protective outer shell. Any more questions?
I have a question. So
Yeah.
if we are supposed to address our opposites first, like would you use this phrase before you identify your own clan in an introduction?
Yeah, I think I would. And and ask someone for guidance, like locally, like, hey, should I introduce my opposites first on my Dakanuku before I say my clan? I think I would go with my opposites first before I say who I am. Because if you're mentioning your own clan, there's probably going to be a reason for it. Like Shaksanikik said, like a formal self-introduction where it's expected of you, where you're saying which clan you are.
Yeah, I think at ceremony it would be obvious too, like if it's an Ishkatan hosted potlatch, like that's us who's speaking because we're hosting it. So maybe to acknowledge your connection to the opposites first would probably be more appropriate because it'd be obvious which clan you're from in the moment, I guess.
Right, yeah, you'd have those kind of context telling you, guiding you. Did I answer everyone's questions about the map and place names? I want to take you to one more thing since it's part of our self-introduction. And that was... Oh, place names. Particle. So if you go to this section of the same chapter, Tlingit Ani Kasauku or Sauku, names on Tlingit land, there's a couple sections of this that I think are important. So the first one is the names of the places. So community has its Tlingit name, and there's a cool description under the English translation. These are great for saying where you live, where you were raised, where you were born. These are place names. And then a lot of them will also be a Kwan name, but not all of them. So all of these places belong to a Kwan or an ancestral territory of people. And so there's some overlap, but it's not a direct correlation all the time. So like one place is Juneau area and the northern area by the little lake, and that place is called Auk. and there's also a territory that belongs to the Kwan. So the surrounding area is the territory of the Kwan. And same with Juneau area, South and Douglas. So you could say I live at but if you keep scrolling, one of the areas where I saw doesn't overlap is for Wrangell Koch Little Lake near People's Work. And this is the name of the community commonly known as Wrangell, but I don't think there's a Koch Kwan. I think they would be where is it? Shkat Kwan. So that's where the map is helpful when you're tying your heritage and where you come from to your self-introduction so that you can use the correct territory names. Does that make sense? And if you want to see the map, it's in the beginning of the book. Sorry for scrolling. Here it is. Here's a map of everybody's lands. It's interesting too because some of these are directional terms like dakka. Like when Khune and I are talking, and he'll be talking about my dakka friends. He's talking about his friends from Teslin, Atlan, people who are from inland that he works closely with and that he knows. What's another one? Naki is upriver, and it also alternatively can be used as north, but that's just a coincidence because of the way rivers tend to run in the area. Ichki would be downriver. Or sometimes it's used as south. Kind of took myself on a tangent. I was supposed to answer a question and I started talking about that. You guys have any more questions?
I think what you were just kind of getting at was, I can wrap my brain around this, just like where I'm from and like where I'm residing, I think are kind of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's say I'm whatever from Ak. Occoquan is like my ancestral home, but Occoquan.
Yeah. If your ancestral home is Ta'ku and you belong to the people of Ta'ku Kwan, it would be this is like your ancestry, where you're from. You have ancestral ties to this land. So this is where you would be Ta'ku Kwan Owa Uhan. But if you live over here in the northern Juneau area, you would say Yati. So I am of the people of Ta'ku. I live at Ak. If you wanted to add whose land you live on, you could say Ak Kwan Anikach, on the lands of the Ak Kwan people. Kwan is people, people of.
Yeah, just kind of the difference between where I'm at and where I'm from, I think.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, where I'm from is Kwan, and where I'm at is the place name Kiechadiati. So that would be this difference. We are the people of the homeland. I live at this place. Did you want to practice any place names for these? Not required. I was supposed to ask you guys to perform your self introduction. Is anyone here ready to give their self introduction from memory?
Give it a shot.
Okay.
But also take a minute to review. I kind of forgot we were doing that today. Could we just like look at it one more time really quick?
Yeah, of course.
From the top.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy it from our previous one and I'll put it up on the screen. Knock knock. Here it is. Okay, so this is the whole thing. And I'm gonna make it larger. One moment.
Corey, are you there?
Yeah.
You are. If I do mine, will you do your introduction?
Yeah, mine's a little bit different. But the way I learned it, but I can do mine.
Nice.
Iguaya Juan, you can do it.
You can do it.
I mean, but you volunteered, so.
Are you waiting on me? I thought someone else was going first.
I think we're just gonna like look at this really quick and then see if I could do it from memory. What are we doing here? Sorry.
Let's do today. We'll do it from the on book with the notes, and then when Chaksani gets back, we'll try to memorize it for her. So, do you guys want me to go first?
You're our fearless leader.
Okay, here we go. Leit khaginach ana yucha duasak. Gonna nachinach nila toga yucha duasak. Jama nachat sati. Gonna na yadi yachat. Gutske kwan owa uhan. An chichki chat yati. Gonna chish. Hi, and then we have to translate. Hi, my name's Anna. My Athabascan name is Nila Torah. I'm German American on my mother's side, and I'm child of the Athabascan people. We are from the people of the base of the clouds, and I live in Anchorage. Thank you. Yay.
With the notes, yeah, I can definitely try.
Okay.
Okay, just pretend like I did an awesome land acknowledgement and like all my opposites are so proud of me.
Okay.
Leitka enach dan morta yosat doasa. Lingit enach watch yochat doasa. Ganak tedi nachhatsati kutis hit dach dakloedi yadi ayachat. Jilkat kwan awe uchan. Zantekehini yachat yati. In English, I'm called Dan Morta and Klingit. I am K-Watch. I belong to the Raven Woodworm clan from the Looking Out to Sea house. I'm a child of the Killer Whale clan. We are from Upwand and I'm in Juneau right now.
Nice work. Nicely done.
Sheesh.
Ah,
Good job. Woohoo!
job.
Hey.
All right, I'll do mine as requested. I'll just read what's here and kind of modify it to fit, which is okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't think about that before.
Mm.
Jek enak Corey, you could do a sock. Shinga enak scan you could do a sock. Anach teddy na hutsati. Kick shit dach. Cherokee yadi ayachat. Chishkatwan awe uhan. De shuk ye hut yati. My English name is Corey. My Shinget name is Skan E. I am Anach Tedi. I come from the Frog House. I am a child of the Cherokee. I come from Jishkatwan, which is the area around Klukwan, and I live in Deishu, which is now called Haines as well. Sheesh.
Okay, nice
Well,
work. Goodness, geez.
Awesome.
Really good. Anybody else want to go?
I'd like to pick on Kara and ask her to go.
ooh,
Yeah.
I
we're
know,
doing
so the three
tag.
of us are all in the same clan, which is hard to say, and she's in another class that we're in, so this is another good way to practice.
Oh, cool.
Thanks, Corey.
Ah,
Uh, well, I'm not that great at speaking it, so um uh
That's
yeah.
okay. No judgment here. We're just practicing.
Delight like ka I'm not sure how to say that word.
Reinach.
Kenach
Uh-huh.
Kara Yuhut Duasa Link Linkit Enoch into Yuhut Duasa Anak TD Nach Hut Sati Yahit Dak Kagwantan Yadi Ayahet Jill Kat Kwan Awa Yuhan Deshu X Yai Yaya Yati. So
Nice.
in English I am called Kara, in Tlingit I am called Intu. I belong to the Ganakatati. I'm from the Whale House. I'm a child of the Kagwantan. We are of the from Klukwan, and I'm currently in Deishu.
Hmm.
Nice
Beautiful job. Yeah.
Good to hear you, Karen.
Beautiful job. Thank you for sharing into. And even voluntold. Good. You did awesome. We got time for one more if anyone else wants to practice.
I'll practice, but I don't know the part's correct.
Okay.
Late ka zenak star yuhat duwasakwa. Lingit zenak tutsat kutseanaha yuhat dusakwa. Late ka nax zat sati, which I don't have correct.
It's okay.
Daklawadi yadi aya hat. Tegesh kwan awa wuhan. Maybe this is correct. Keet heat dax. Sherwood Park X Ze Hat Yati. In English, I am called Star. In Tlingit, I am called Morning Star or Tutsat Kutseanaha. My mother is English. I am a child of the Daklawadi clan from the Tagish area and the Killer Whale House. I live in Sherwood Park.
Awesome. Good job. Thank
Yay.
you.
Ahla Kutsi.
Ah, hatakutse. Good job. Thanks, you guys. Takes courage to put yourself out there and perform in front of a group, and I thought you all did beautiful. That's all the time we have for today, but we'll be back at it for Thursday, and we're gonna do continuation of the self-introduction and start a conversation about Lingit Nag or Lingit medicine. Shirley and I, neither of us are experts on that, but we want to share some plant names and start a discussion anyway. Okay, gonna teach you Han, so
And
question.
you're
Oh,
not,
go ahead.
when were you taking, you're gonna miss a class too. I got an email or something like that. Was that
Mm-hmm.
like this week or next week or?
For the Wednesday morning class, is
Oh, that's
canceled.
the Wednesday. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's canceled tomorrow because I'll be training with the host gym. I didn't want to turn him down since I'm going to Hawaii and they invited me. But we'll add a week on, and then
Okay.
but Thursday, Shirley and I will both be here.
Shirley's good. Okay. Or I mean, Shirley. I mean, Thursday's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Diagen Glashish.
Diag and Johan Gonachish.
Good enough, geez. So yeah, class 18.
You